closing strains of the national anthem by Tom Didier here at the Allen County Memorial Coliseum. Gene Ubriaco taking his Knights into battle here tonight, looking to snap a 2-game losing streak, battling Bruce Boudreau, who once played for Gene Ubriaco, but there aren't very many floating around that at one time or another didn't play for or with Ubi.
Gene Ubriaco certainly been around the block in the coaching and playing circuit.
The Knights lead the series 2-1. This is the fourth and final regular season meeting between these two teams. Here at Fort Wayne, the Komets have a decided advantage, and of course they won games 3 and 4 in the second round of the playoffs here last year en route to the Turner Cup. Mark Hicks, the referee tonight, along with the linesman Jim Garofalo and Pat Dunn. Fort Wayne in the home white with that colorful orange striping. The Knights in their traveling black with the white numerals moving offensively to the left. They dump it all the way down, and this will be an icing call right off the get-go. Atlanta with a starting unit out there of Dubois and Sharon on defense. Eric Dubois and Sharon in front of J.C. Bergeron, along with Colin Miller, Mark Tardif, and Brent Gretzky. Good to see Gretzky back here. Apparently that hamstring, not a major problem. He's ready to go tonight.
And boy, an important time for Brent Gretzky to be back in the lineup. Bill McDougall may have caught a bit of the same bug that Norman Rocheford has had, both McDougall and Rocheford sitting out of tonight's contest.
Meanwhile, they're going with Dave Smith, 14, who just lost the draw to Gretzky. Darren Smith, 17, no relation. And big Steve Fletcher, number 77, who doesn't do much, but he'll really bang the bodies. He and Tardif could be a heavyweight matchup in this one tonight. Tardif runs into Malikin, takes another bump, gets the puck to the point. Dubois, his shot bouncing off the side of the cage in front. Shot, save, and Tardif couldn't get away with another one. Now here comes Dave Smith, 14. Swept off his stick on a good play by Sharon to Gretzky with Miller across the line. Sharon the traitor. The puck to Sharon, far circle to our left. Now Gretzky tried to swat it right out to Colin Miller, couldn't do it. And now Tardif in the near corner down to our left. Bumped by Dave Smith. Tardif trying to kick it free. Now Colin Miller trying to get it back to Tardif, who momentarily lost his balance. And the Komets clear the zone. And the Knights make a change. Here comes Julia LaRouche. Julia right in front of goal! And the captain, in just a minute and 10 seconds, puts the Knights on top 1-0. Julia's 35th goal of the year, 71st point. And indeed, we talked about him at the top of the broadcast, and Drulia puts Ubriaco in a 1-0 lead right now.
And a quick way to calm down a sold-out Allen County Memorial Coliseum. The captain gets the pass there from Sharon, all alone, and just fires a wrist shot past Gilmore. 1-0 Atlanta.
Gilmore gave him just enough room over the stick side, and the Knights lead in the hockey game 1-0. Now off the draw, Buchanan fires it in. Gilmore leaves it for the defense. Number 3 is Dave Tredowitz. Lost it behind the net to Drulia. Lost his skates, went down in the corner, couldn't play the puck. And now it's played along the far side, but interrupted by Buchanan on a good play. 26, Colin Chin, the Fort Wayne captain, gave it up behind the net. Edgerton just missed the far post off the centering pass from behind the net by Drulia. All the way down the rink off to Karam and Sean Rivers, 24. Oh, gave it up to Siplikov, 29. A wraparound. Siplikov rolled it through the goal mouth, and Bergeron able to cover up. We're about 2 minutes into the hockey game. The Atlanta Knights leading by the score of 1-0, and a good start for the Knights here.
There you see Siplikov's numbers. Another fine rookie in the IHL, 33 points on the season.
And another look at his near miss right in front of the net.
Rivers plays the puck behind the net and just fans on the clearing attempt. Picked up by Siplikov. Edgerton went to play the player in front of the net, which left Siplikov to come out in front of the net all alone. But he fanned on the shot, and Bergeron gathered the loose puck.
Siplikov had a cup of coffee with Indianapolis in this league last year, 11 games, and has played very well for the Komets this year. A good-looking hockey player. Atlanta leading 1-0. Opening minutes of the game. Battle behind the Atlanta net down to our right. Lee Davidson rolls it off the end of his stick to the far boards. Big bumps behind the net. Fans calling for a penalty, but the Knights clear the zone. Now played ahead to Brian McKee. Their high-scoring defenseman dumps it in, and Scotty Boston, just up from Knoxville. We'll chat with him during the first intermission. Sends it to the near side, and the Knights dump it all the way down. A chase for the puck, and it's played by McKee for the icing call, and we'll pause. The Knights on top, 1-0, back in 30 seconds. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
Kroger's been a part of the neighborhood for a long time. We've helped with hundreds of Sunday mornings, thousands of supper times, and goodness knows how many late-night snacks. After all these years in Atlanta, we've made some wonderful friends. Kroger, for goodness
sake. 2.5 minutes into the hockey game, the Knights leading, but Dupuis off a draw, whistles one deflected wide, and it clears the zone. McKee could not get to the point quickly enough to play the puck. Dupuis, number 2, intercepted by Tanguay. Off the side of the net, rough a back into a goal! And Gilmore just failed to get to the post, and Jason Ruff gives the Knights a real jump start with their second goal in just the opening moments of the hockey game. For Ruffles, his 11th goal of the year, and now the Knights lead it 2-0. And if there's anything that this team needed, it was a good start in this one to get ahead, not behind, in trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. The Knights only once in their history have lost 3 in a row.
You saw Steve LaRouche there grabbing Ruffles' arm, saying, look at the strength. Watch the backhand there from the reverse angle. Gilmore fails to get to that post, like you said, Kenny, and it appeared as if Ruffles was looking for a play out in front of the net, but just fired the backhand and scored his 11th of the season.
I think maybe he surprised Gilmore because he certainly was at a bad angle. Now the Knights give it up in their own zone. It's loose in front. A backhand shot knocked down by the defense and clear to the near boards. Colin Chin behind the net. Gretzky takes a whack from Purvis, who gets it to Lucic. A bad angle shot deflected over the crossbar to the far boards. Centered and taken away by Dubois for Tardif. He pokes it into the zone where Lucic gets there first and pops it into the crowd, and will pause. Atlanta leading 2-0 in the early going. Back in 30 seconds. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
A simple change to Philips state-of-the-art light bulbs and redo your living room.
If I didn't care
Philips soft-tone pastels.
More than words can say.
Philips halogens. And Philips director bulbs. Redo your living room for about $76. Philips Lighting, opening the world's eyes to light.
We're back in Fort Wayne. The Knights leading 2-0, and the Komets putting on the pressure. Kelly Hurd lost it off the side of the cage to Stan Drulia. Drulia, who did a good job covering Hurd in the game the other day. As the Komets drop it back in, it's offsides at the blue line, and we'll have a face-off there. Those two will match up some during this hockey game, Drulia and Hurd. And Edgerton on this line gives this line now a little different look. You've got 3 speedsters. Drulia, although not big, can certainly go in the corners and dig for the puck. And Edgerton, also not big, but also not afraid to muck it in the corners and create plays.
And you certainly cannot say that Steve LaRouche is shy about going into the corner. For 3 players that really have a lot of talent and very aggressive in their scoring opportunities, none of them shy about playing the physical game.
Now the puck played by Atlanta. Bucky Buchanan from the red line fires it in. Big carom to the circle, and Edgerton keeps it alive in the corner. Drulia bottling up there. Tredowitz trying to play the puck for Fort Wayne. Kelly Hurd kicking at it. Edgerton comes away with it for Drulia indeed. Now Stan dodges a check from Tredowitz, moves it in front, one-handed, takes a blast, a penalty coming up, but Drulia shoots, and he scores! Count the goal! His second in less than 5 minutes, and the Knights lead it 3-0, much to the chagrin of a sellout crowd in Fort Wayne, and what a start for Atlanta and the captain, Stan Drulia. His 36th goal of the year, and the Knights have 3 goals in the first 4 minutes and 17 seconds, and Gilmore is out. Gauthier is coming in. Another look.
Drulia fires at it once, gets the rebound, and was able right there, as you take a look. The strength that Drulia fights off the holding there. Fanned by Edgerton. Drulia grabs it. It hit Gilmore in the shoulder and went down between his legs. And it's pretty ironic. Stan Drulia and I had a chat for the radio interview in the pregame, and it seems that every time we've talked to Stan for a radio interview, he scored 2 goals. And when I grabbed him in the locker room, he said, "You're putting all kinds of pressure on me." Well, it only took him about 4 minutes to get 2 goals again tonight.
Grab him for the intermissions. Let's get him some airtime. 3-0 Atlanta in the early going, although believe me, there's an awful lot of hockey left, and these Komets on their home ice can be very tough. With the goal being scored, no penalty called, and now the Knights clear the zone. Jeff Medill and his line out there for the first time. Fort Wayne fires a long one in, played by Scotty Boston. Medill feeds Tanguay right through him, but following the play, Jason Rupp sends it ahead. Now Tango pushes it across the line, and Medill was just ahead of the play. So with the offsides, we'll pause. Atlanta with a 3-0 lead, and we're coming right back. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
For those who believe hood ornaments make a statement about quality, Toyota presents our newest ones, the J.D. Power and Associates Awards for Initial Quality. This year, 3 Toyotas were ranked best in their price class. 5 more ranked best compact or full-size vehicle. In total, 8 Toyotas were ranked best by their owners, more than any manufacturer in the history of these awards. Toyota quality, it's the most powerful statement we can make.
The new goaltender for the Fort Wayne Komets, who entered the game after that 3rd goal was scored by Atlanta, is Sean Gauthier. 7-5-3, a 3.81 goals against average, and an 88% save ratio. 22-year-old out of Sudbury, Ontario. Played with Moncton in the American Hockey League last year. Originally a 7th-round pick by Winnipeg in 1991. Just a youngster. One of 4 different goaltenders that have been employed by the Komets here. And they were really counting on Gilmore to be their mainstay. Gilmore, the IHL veteran, had spent a couple of years as the Komets give it up. Colin Miller for Gretzky, just too far. And Gauthier steers it to the far side. But the Komets had counted on Gilmore to be their mainstay, including the guy to carry them into the playoffs. Now the Knights play it ahead, but just too far for Colin Miller. Atlanta doing some good forechecking here. Now Kerry Lucic back to the Atlanta line. Dubois knocks Siplikov off the puck, and it's carried ahead now by Colin Miller. Across the line, Millsy stops at the near point, tried to center it in front, and Lucic knocked it in the air and clears the zone. Dumped back in by the Atlanta Knights and Target. Now Colin Chin throws it ahead, but dumped back in by Eric Dubois. Played now by Atlanta, and Trulia behind the net to Edgerton. Boy, has this line been effective already. Now Trulia back to the corner, and Edgerton, who was tied up by his numerical counterpart Smith. But here's LaRouche in front for Trulia, jamming at it, shoots it wide. Behind the net, Edgerton. The Knights keeping control. To LaRouche, a quick shot, a save, the rebound. Cleared out of there by Lucic. He feeds it ahead, Siplikov has it onside, followed now by Purvis. Across the line, Purvis. Nice move around the check. Centers the shot, and a goal! What a play by Purvis. It's 3-1.
Boy, outstanding effort there by Purvis, who was hit by Buchanan as he made an outstanding move right there to get around Rivers. There Buchanan pokes him and pops the puck away, but he is able to get the backhand pass to a cutting Siplikov, and Siplikov buries it. For Siplikov, that's his 18th goal of the season.
And they play a little bit of that Russian dancing music when Siplikov scores here. These fans know how to have a good time. They really have fun in Fort Wayne. Fans, pop a little extra popcorn tonight. We got a wild one brewing in Fort Wayne. The biscuit is going in the basket in the early going. And here's Atlanta to Tanguay, just too far for Medill. Now the goaltender Gauthier way out, smothers it, and we get a whistle and we'll pause. It's 3-1. We're not 7 minutes into it yet. Back in 30 seconds. This is Atlanta Knights hockey. back in Fort Wayne, and a great start to this hockey game. Atlanta leading 3-1, and an unbelievable play by John Purvis fed the puck to Siplikov to get the Komets on the board. Fort Wayne steers it too far, played back to center ice by the Knights. Now Dupuis from the red line took a bump from Jason Ruff and dumped it in, where Scotty Boston plays it for Atlanta. Number 21, Boston, who spent most of the year with Atlanta last year. Lost it in the zone. Tanguay able to clear the zone. What a hit he took from Fletcher. Now Dupuis steers it to center. And the puck played again by Boston. Out there with Corey Cross. Boston dumps it in. Gauthier leaves it for the defense, and Guy Dupuis. Intercepted by Medill. Mad Dog steers it behind the net. Now Steve LaRouche steers away, and it's played by Dupuis. Here's Big Steve Fletcher from about 100 feet. Dumps it in, and it's played by the Knights and Rivers as Fort Wayne changes on the play. They bring out Doug Wickenheiser, Lee Davidson. They also have Mitch Messier there as the Knights are on side with LaRouche. LaRouche in the deep slot. Lost it off the end of the stick in the slot. Played now by Igor number 10, Igor Malikin for the Fort Wayne Komets. Throws it across to Messier onside. Rolls it right through the goal mouth. Couldn't get it to the forehand. Now played to Lucic at the point. His shot purposely wide. He was looking for a feed there, and here comes Drulia on the fly to the red line. Moving to the left to the blue line. Pops it over to LaRouche too far, but Buchanan keeps it in for LaRouche in the far corner. Tried to center, couldn't. Gets it back. Had a centering pass knocked wide again. Lost his stick, dragged down to the ice, and Drulia tries to play the puck. Bumped off the play by Lucic, but Edgerton has it. Now Edgy steers it to the point. Rivers has a little room. Rivers shoots, deflected wide into the corner.
That puck hit the inside of LaRouche's leg there, and he's hurt.
Now Drulia tied up, trying to get a whistle. There's another shot from Rivers as the puck squirted free to the point. Behind the net, Drulia tried to steer it in front, and LaRouche indeed is trying to skate off that bump he took from the puck on his leg, and he'll now make his way to the bench. Collision at center ice between Wickenheiser and Drulia. Kind of a no harm, no foul situation as we near the halfway point of the first period, and perhaps this game is starting to settle down a little bit. Here's Gretzky across the line, and they'll rule offside. Tardif lost his skates, slipped right at the line, and created an offside, and we'll pause. Back in 30 seconds. Knights on top 3-1. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
I know what you're feeling, though we're far apart. I hear you in my heart. You know the way to make this heart rejoice. The real you coming through, your true voice.
Back to the staccato applause from a full house in Fort Wayne. The Knights push the puck into the corner. Tardif keeps it alive. Along the near boards, Tardif turns, spins, quick shot. Gauthier got it with the glove, and then decides he'll hold on. 10 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. First period of play. 3-1, the Knights leading. Drulia has 2 goals. Jason Ruff had a dandy backhand goal, but Siplikov on a great play from John Purvis got the Komets on the board, and it's a 2-goal game. Ginu Briacco and company on top. The Knights will, after this game, get a very welcome few days off before heading for the long trip. 7 games in 13 days out west, including 3 with Las Vegas. The Knights trailing Las Vegas in the overall standings in the Western Conference. Now the Knights win the draw. Sharon cranks it up, deflected by Miller to the far boards. He bumps over there along the far side with Dan Lambert, and the puck comes to the point. Swept at but missed by Dubois, and the Knights have to clear to get onside as Eric Dubois fires it in. Tardif cuts off Purvis, bounces the puck into the circle, but here comes Purvis. This kid can really play. Cross ice it goes, too far for Siplikov. Dubois bumps body. Siplikov gets the puck, tried to find Purvis in the slot. Played now by Eric Sharon. Flips it around the boards, right in front, and Siplikov just missed the far post. Now Gretzky up the far side, and Miller trying to play it out of there, and here comes Gretzky. to the red line, moving to the left. Fires a long one, gloved by Gauthier, and the Knights change on the play. Now it's played by Colin Chin, their captain, the veteran, 32 years old, dumps it in, having another terrific year for the Fort Wayne Komets. Homegrown product, born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now Kelly Hurd to the far point, and McKee. His shot knocked down. Here's a 3-on-2 for the Knights. Oh, Tanguay fed it up the far side of Medill, the headman, and a good job by McKee to break it up. Tanguay maintains possession. He skates right to the middle with a 3-on-2. Now McKee, although headmanning is generally a positive move, push the puck forward, as Gene likes to say, let the puck do the work for you. But in that particular instance, a bad decision and a penalty coming up on the Komets. Medill went down, dragged down by McKee. The Knights will have their first power play of the hockey game when we come back. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
Yo, check it out. Here's what I gotta know.
Would you guys come out?
We're back in Fort Wayne. The Knights leading 3-1, and the penalty called against Fort Wayne's Brian McKee. 2 minutes for a hook on Jeff Medill. The Knights get their first power play of the hockey game. This is a McFrugel auto rental power play as the Knights dump it in, and Malikin hooks it around the boards and all the way down. The Knights on the power play, 11th in the IHL, hitting it at 16.9%. They went 0 for 7 against the Komets Friday. 1 for 7 against Indianapolis last night. Buchanan fires it in to the far side, kept in at the point. Played by Drulia now to Buchanan. Now Rivers flips it here in the near corner. Lucic flips it around the boards, and Messier has a little room, picks his spot and dumps it all the way down.
In the season series against the Komets, the Knights are just 1 of 15 on the power play. They've had 2 shorthanded goals, more shorthanded goals than power play goals.
And the Knights give it up at center ice. Now played by Buchanan. He hit Edgerton with it, who gets it back. Now Edgy fires it in. Drulia giving chase behind the net. Malikin there first. Malikin couldn't get away with it, and Drulia, couldn't maintain, and now Purvis was just a stride off the red line, or he would have had a one-on-one, and Chin was flying up following the play. So a break for the Knights on that 2-line pass, and we'll head back the other way for a face-off in the Fort Wayne zone. And the Komets have been very opportunistic shorthanded. They lead the IHL in shorthanded goals.
No question, if Purvis is straddling the red line there, he's all alone for a 2-on-1 there with Chin.
Gino Briacco a little concerned about the functioning of his power play unit on that stretch. And there are 58 seconds left on the man advantage for the Atlanta Knights. Tanguay between Medill and Ruff. Chiron and Dubois on the points. For our radio audience, face-off down to our left, just inside the top of the near circle, in front of Sean Gauthier in a relief role for Darryl Gilmore. Now Tanguay out, Jason Ruff in to take the draw against John Purvis. And the Knights win the draw, but it scoots out of the zone, and Dubois plays it for Tanguay. Now Chiron across the line with Medill. Medill stops at the point, lost it off his stick, and it's flipped out of there by the Komets. Nearing 40 seconds left on the power play. The Knights will have one more shot at it. Now Tanguay almost gave it up, and the puck loose. Oh, a break for the Knights as Chin fanned on it. Here's the 3-man rush to the line. Tanguay back to Medill, cutting in, lost it off the end of his stick for Ruff. Ruff in the far corner, taking a pick from Medill, spins from a check. Feeds it to the point. Dubois back to Ruff. Top of the far circle, shot save, and Gauthier hangs on. No rebound with Tanguay and Medill right on the doorstep. That time the Knights got it set up, got a good shot away.
Boy, but they definitely did get a break there. Chin fanned on it on the blue line, causing the 3-on-2. And good puck movement. Again, the Knights looking to shoot more from the point on the power play to try to create those rebounds.
Atlanta leading Fort Wayne 3-1. Just a tick over 7 minutes remaining in the first period. We hope you're enjoying the telecast on Sports South. There you see Jeff Medill. Got us stuck on 29 goals. Have to interview him some on the radio, see if we can get him jump-started. Now Chiron feeds Medill. 10 seconds left on the power play. Chiron a one-timer, and that hit Hurd right in the ankle. Now Medill at center ice to Ruff across the line. Tanguay cutting to the net. Ruff shoots. Save the rebound. Went past Tanguay. Tough break for the Knights there. And now onside, Kelly, or check that at Smith to Hurd. Hurd bumped off the play by Dubois on a good hit. The fans want a penalty, no call. And Medill has a little room. The penalty over. We're back to 5-on-5 in front of the netminders. The pass too far, but played by Gauthier. He covers up with now 6:27 remaining. First period will pause. Back in 30 seconds with the Knights leading 3-1. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
Any professional painter will tell you that if you want results like these, you gotta know the tricks of the trade. You gotta ask Sherwin-Williams. Now, these are guys you can trust. They've got good paint, good price, good advice. Guaranteed. Want to know something? I didn't paint this house. The guy that lives there did. Hey, fella, nice job. This guy knows what the pros know. Ask Sherwin-Williams.
We see goaltender Sean Gauthier talking with their trainer, and it could be that Gauthier has injured something here. He'll stay between the pipes, but Gilmore already pulled out of this game, but he is still in his gear on the bench. Because again, if the goaltender gets hurt, Gilmore comes back in. Take a look at the previous play as he covered up on that blast by Ruff. Here we go. Dumped in by the Knights. He comes out. Well, I don't know what might have been the problem there, but now it appears he's calling to the bench at that point. So at this point, however, he's still in the hockey game. Now the puck to Brent Gretzky for the Knights. Deep slot the pass. Miller bumped off the play. He already lost his helmet. Shot knocked down in front. Fletcher ties up with Tardif. Now let's see what happens with those two as Miller has it behind the net for Gretzky. Gretzky waiting. Shot. Oh, Tardif popped it past the crossbar. Back to Gretzky on a good play. Gretzky has McKee down on his knees. Gretzky looking for the play behind the net. Gretzky still maintaining possession. Now has it back in the corner. Gretzky. What a run on the possession of the puck for him. Now cutting in. Nice move by Boston. And he lost it off the end of a stick, and they clear the zone. This will be an icing call. And what pressure by the Atlanta Knights. And too bad for Scotty Boston. He made the right call to pinch it at the right time, and then could not quite get the shot away.
Just an outstanding shift. Big Fletcher out there running around trying to knock Atlanta Knights' heads off. Found himself out of position on 3 different occasions, and the Atlanta Knights almost took advantage of that.
A good look at Scotty Boston, 6'2", about 180 pounds, out of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Signed as a free agent by Tampa Bay back in August of '92. And he's had a real good run of it. Helped Knoxville in their run to lead the East Coast Hockey League. And now getting a shot back here with a big club.
And you have to admire his attitude. He took it like a man going down to Knoxville. And every time he comes up, you see him in the locker room with a big smile on his face. He just likes to play, and he has fun out there.
Now Stan Frulia in the corner for LaRouche, tied up by Chin. LaRouche and Chin digging for the puck behind the net. Now Devin Edgerton in there. He's bothered. Tredowitz has him wrapped up. Here's LaRouche, leaves it for Edgerton, but then it's cleared into the crowd, a souvenir. With 5 minutes and 13 seconds remaining in the first period, and Atlanta on top by the count of 3-1.
Atlanta Knights hockey brought to you by Sherwin-Williams, the pros know as Sherwin-Williams, and by Sonic Blades, the cutting edge in skating.
LaRouche, Edgerton, and Frulia the forward line for the Atlanta Knights, with Buchanan and Rivers on the back line. And Ubriaco just happy to have 6 defensemen to get into a more normal rotation with his defense. They have Colin Chin out there with Purvis and Siplikov. Now Purvis is pointing at something. I'm not sure what this is all about. Maybe perhaps a little something on the ice. Garofalo scooped up something. And now Edgerton takes the draw, tried to swat it right on net, but it's played now by Lambert. Far corner, steered it out to Purvis, bumped off the play by Buchanan, but now Chin has it. Spinning move at center to the blue line. To the near corner, down to our right, bumped off the play by Rivers, but here's the puck to the deep slot. Tredowitz shot, saved the rebound, steered out of there by Rivers to Purvis. Far circle and now into the corner. Center to Chin, he swatted at it and missed it. Now Lambert shoots. Good save by Bergeron, and Drulia has it. And he bangs it off the glass, but not out, but able to push it out was LaRouche. Here's Purvis. Got a body on this guy. He rolls it into the zone. Bergeron leaves it for Buchanan. He sends it all the way down, and this will be an icing call. Played there by Malikin with 4:23 left here in the first period, and the Atlanta Knights on top by the count of 3-1.
Purvis, not an easy guy to put a body on. 6'1", 201 pounds, and plays even bigger than that.
Big, strong, fast hockey player. And somebody, and out there's a guy with binoculars sitting in the inner ring. He must really have the bad eyes if he's got binoculars. He's only 3 rows off the ice. I don't even need him up here, and I know I've got the bad eyes. Now the puck played by Atlanta. They've got a 3-1 lead in the hockey game. Eric Dubois sends it up the far side. Fort Wayne pinching in. Along the far side, right in front, a shot popped over the crossbar. Centered and cleared out by the Knights. Oh, Messier on a near miss. Now Wickenheiser, and a penalty coming up. The Knights will be called for delay of game, closing the hand over the puck. No, they're going to call holding here. Holding, or I guess holding the stick is going to be the call. And the Knights are going shorthanded for the first time in the hockey game. So Fort Wayne gets a power play as you look at Eric Sharon, who's going to get a little attention at the Atlanta bench.
He closed his hand over the puck. He took the stick pretty good to the hand.
Holding the stick will be the call. So Sharon will eventually find his way to the penalty box. And it appears Edgerton will serve the penalty for Sharon, because Sharon is injured and is getting attention from Gary Hall, the medical trainer for the Atlanta Knights. So Medill tells the referee that that's the scoop. Devin Edgerton to the penalty box. And the Knights shorthanded. This is a stadium stuff penalty kill. The Knights #1 still in the IHL at 84% killing penalties. They were 4 for 5 killing penalties against these Komets on Friday. Indianapolis got 2 power play goals in 6 attempts last night. Now Lambert, and it's 3-2. From the near point, right off the draw, he let her fly. There were bodies in front. I'm not sure if Bergeron ever saw it. It's now 3-2 on a power play goal for the Komets.
I believe that hit Smith's leg. Here we'll take a look at it. Out to the point. The shot fired by Lambert. And Dave Smith out in front, number 14. No, he jumps under it. Puck stays right along the ice.
And basically Bergeron with 2 Atlanta Knights defenders and a Comet in front. I don't think he ever saw the puck. He went down hoping the puck would hit him. Now onside, here's Tardif flying into the zone. Lost his skates along the near boards, but Gretzky follows up and pushes the puck behind the net for Colin Miller. Right in front, Tardif a shot, but the whistle blows. They'll call it dead with a hand pass. With 3:36 left to go here in the first period, and now the Komets have come back. Atlanta's 3-0 lead is now 3-2.
Good job by the home Komet squad. Able to get back in the hockey game after being down 3-2, and the fans right back into this game.
Lambert gets credit for the goal, his 11th of the year.
Here you see it from the reverse angle. Slap shot stays right along the ice and finds its way into the 5-hole.
Dave Smith and Mitch Messier get the assists. 16:02 the time of the power play goal for the Fort Wayne Komets. So at 1:10, Drulia made it 1-0. At 2:45, Ruff made it 2-0. At 4:17, Drulia made it 3-0. But then at the 9:34 mark, Siplikov, his 18th of the year, made it 3-1. And now, with just under 4 minutes left, it's Lambert's 11th of the year, and it's 3-2 as they patch up a little ice here in Fort Wayne. And Gino Briacco looking a little concerned, a little tired on this road trip. And look what's ahead. The Knights will leave Thursday for a Friday game in Salt Lake. then twice in Vegas, twice in San Diego, back to Vegas, finishing up in Kansas City. They'll not be back at the Omni until March the 4th. Now Gretzky off his skate. Dubois lost it. Here's Messier with a little room. A shot knocked down by Bergeron. Now Dupuis feeds it ahead. Across the line, Lee Davidson. Far circle. A shot deflected by Messier. Almost in. And he was all alone in front. Fort Wayne dumps it in. Dubois plays it behind the net. Now here's Rivers back to Dubois. A little room for Eric, and he fires it in. The Knights change on the play as Kerry Lusick plays it for Fort Wayne. Cross-ice pass too far for Darren Smith, and now Corey Cross beats Drury. Weaves his way to the line and dumps it in. LaRouche in the corner. Drulia tripped up, but LaRouche gets the puck. Try to feed it back to Drulia, tied up by Dave Smith, 14. The puck to Edgerton. Try to push it to the point. Good play by Darren Smith, and he takes it away. With Kelly Hurd across the line. Hurd trying to get around Cross. Stops at the boards. Flips it ahead for Malikin right through the goal mouth, and smothered by Bergeron with 2:14 remaining. One thing we talked about privately, Mark, and that was the fact that struggling as the Knights have been, in spite of the fact that they played 2 solid games, the other teams have been fortunate. They've had a couple of breaks go in, and there you see J.C. Bergeron, and it was our feeling, among others, that we really needed a big game out of our goaltenders, be it Greenlay or Bergeron, perhaps even a shutout-type performance to solidify a road victory here. And right now, a lot rests on Bergeron's shoulders to slam the door shut.
J.C., who's played solid for so long, didn't play bad last night, but played a real solid third period. And we'll see, after maybe getting a bit complacent with an early 3-goal lead, if he can suck it up and play solid goaltending for the next 40 minutes.
Now LaRouche flying to the blue line, bumped off the puck, but follows the play. He's got a little room. Mushy moving in. A weak shot fired wide. Didn't get all of it. And the Komets flip it to center. And a penalty coming up on Atlanta. An interference call on a bump along the near boards, and the Knights will go short-handed, and now the Komets have an opportunity to tie this hockey game as Corey Cross knocked Dave Smith into the boards and takes the interference call.
Corey Cross very upset with this call because he was held all the way around the boards. Corey Cross pinching in, and just a bit of a hit there as the puck was being played up the boards. He was essentially pinching in after joining the rush. Corey, for the big defenseman, he does not take a lot of penalty minutes for Cross on the season. Only his 43rd and 44th minutes.
So the Knights penalty killers out there now, and they're definitely facing a challenge. They have been giving up some power play goals of late after a brilliant run over a number of games in which they just kept the door slammed shut. The Knights dump it all the way in, and the Komets play it to Colin Chin, 26, the captain. Feeds it here across the line for Lee Davidson. Into the corner on Dubois. There's a shot fired wide by Chin. Now Siplikov to the far point, and Brian McKee. He's very dangerous on the point on a power play. Siplikov in the near corner down to our right. Chin, side of the net. Siplikov cutting in. Save on the shot. Cleared but not out. Kept alive by Chin. Now Chin in the near corner. Davidson switching places with Chin along the boards. In the near circle, Davidson to Chin. A minute left in the period. A minute 8 left on the power play. It's loose for the Knights. No, they couldn't clear, or Gretzky and Miller might have had a break. Buchanan and Siplikov got into it in the corner. No penalties as Purvis plays the puck for the Komets, far corner. Centers it for Siplikov, knocked off a blade and kept in at the line. Oh, my! A break for the Knights. They'll blow it off sides, and I think that that's a mistake, and McKee has every reason to be upset with Jim Garofalo, the linesman. Gene Ubriaco will take that call in a minute. Have another look at this one, as I think the puck stayed right on the blue line.
It seemed to just roll across the blue line.
Oh, that's not offside. That's a break for the Knights because two Knights players started to try and create a rush. That would have been an easy 4-on-2 for the Komets in the attack zone. And Bruce Boudreau sees an opportunity slip away on a call that was not offside. A break for the Knights. Now Hurd fires it in. Steered up along the near boards, kicked in by Hurd. He shoots off a skate to the far point. Lambert, who has the goal, sends it to the corner, and a penalty called on the Komets. A break for the Atlanta Knights with just 20 seconds left in the period. We'll skate these 20 seconds 4-on-4 as Mark Hicks calls a penalty on Fort Wayne. Dave Smith headed to the penalty box. He's upset. A tripping call indeed at 19:40 late in the first period, which means that the Knights will have a power play 17 seconds into, check that, 13 seconds into the second period.
Watch in front of the net as Buchanan goes into the corner. He's tripped there by Smith.
And that's a good call because Buchanan's trying to get over there to play the puck. Now we're 4-on-4 in front of the netminders. The Knights dump it in. A chase for the puck. Loose along the boards. LaRouche tried to center. Lambert tracks it down for the Komets. 10 seconds left. He fires along. One gloved by Bergeron, and with Messier bearing in, Bergeron hangs on. And there'll be a face-off with 6 seconds left. And during the first intermission, we'll have a chat with the colorful Italian, the assistant coach, Joe Bucchino. So everybody in the Bucchino household back in Atlanta, stand by. Scott Boston will also visit with us, and we'll have highlights and scores and more.
I think it's safe to say that the entire Bucchino clan is watching back up in Marietta.
Scrambling now to get a tape in the machine. Now again, 4-on-4 in front of the goaltenders. Kelly Hurd poised just off the top of the circle, near side. He'll have a shot if Fort Wayne wins the faceoff. Won by Colin Miller on a big draw against the veteran Wickenheiser. The Knights dump it all the way down, and that's it. Good job in execution right at the end of the period. And a wild first period with lots of scoring finds the Knights, after leading 3-0, leading now 3-2 as the dapper Gino Briacco heads with his team to the locker room. Bruce Boudreau doing the same with the Komets. And we'll be back with our intermission and more after we take this time out. Back in 2 minutes. This is Atlanta Knights hockey. Back in Fort Wayne, the Atlanta Knights leading the Fort Wayne Komets by the score of 3-2 after the first 20 minutes of play. And as we resume, Corey Cross will have 13 seconds left on an interference call, and Fort Wayne's Dave Smith has 1:41 left on his tripping call. So in 13 seconds, the Knights will have their second power play of the hockey game, with Gino Briacco's squad on top. But Mark, one of the things we were chatting about during the break, the next goal real big here. Fort Wayne scores to tie. This place is on fire, and they've got all the momentum. If the Knights can climb back in front by 2, they've got an opportunity then to really garner the 2 points here and salvage at least 1 win on this road trip. A good look at Colin Chin, the hometown boy from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
It would really be nice to see the Atlanta Knights score in this power play, because they have struggled during the first 2 games of this road trip, going just 1 for 14 on the power play so far.
Tanguay will take the draw with Chin, and the puck taken by Purvis, and he'll probably just eat up a little time. Now in 5 seconds, the Knights will have a manpower advantage as Purvis bangs it ahead too far for Chin, but now he's able to catch up with it. Written off the play by Dubois. Sharon takes over, and the Knights have a man advantage, but Purvis intercepts the puck. I'm telling you, Purvis may be one of the best players overall in the IHL. If you were looking for a top 5 forwards, it better include that guy.
Boy, and for as big as he is, he really has great speed out there.
Here comes Eric Sharon. Finds the red line and dumps it in. Tanguay, first man in. Now Ruff along the near boards for Tanguay in the corner. Behind the net, Medill wraparound, didn't get in, and it's cleared out of there for Messier. Strong move on the wraparound by Medill, and he almost found the 5-hole. And as we talked about, Jeff Medill, known as Mad Dog, has been snake bitten somewhat. How many more animals do you think we can get into the analogy here? It's a tough road here these last few games for Medill. Now Tanguay at the red line, to the blue line. Flips it here to Dubois in deep from a bad angle shot, and a goal! Medill finally got it home, and the Knights get a power play goal and lead it 4-2.
Boy, Medill gets the monkey off his back there.
Good call by the color commentator. That's why we bring him along. The Knights leading 4-2, and a big goal, his 30th of the year for the bearded Jeff Medill. And a nice play by Dubois.
Great pass by Eric Dubois, slides it right across the goal mouth. Medill going to the net, doing his job there, and buries it to give the Knights a 2-goal lead just a minute 21 into the second period.
And with just seconds remaining on the power play, the Knights capitalize. Get a power play goal of their own. Finally get one past Gauthier, who made a couple of good saves in the 16 minutes of the first period that he played. And the Knights lead now 4-2. And as it was in the first period, they notch an early goal. Now Darren Smith in deep for Dave Smith, number 14, up the near side. McKee shoots, knocked down in front, played by Colin Miller. Up the near side for Brent Gretzky as those two have been reunited. Taken away by Guy Dupuis. Charging to the line, a quick shot, stick save, swept out of there by the Knights, and Gretzky feeds it up the far side for Tardif. Run into the boards, Dupuis couldn't play it, Gretzky could not keep possession, and Fort Wayne bangs it back into the zone. Now the Knights have it free as Tardif crosses the line with Colin Miller. Tardif in the far corner, bumped by McKee. Tardif tied up, trying to get away from McKee, centers. Taken away by Kelly Hurd for Darren Smith. To McKee, across the line, Dave Smith. Trying to get it back to McKee. Good play by Rivers to break up that play. Now Hurd and Rivers. Good job by Hurd to dodge the check and gain the puck. Looking for the play. Kerry Lusick shoots. Deflected wide by Colin Miller out front. Now banged off the near boards, and Colin Miller has a little room. It's Tardif. Up the far side for Gretzky. And Buchanan a step over the line, trying to cut to the net. And we'll pause. We'll be back in 30 seconds. The Knights leading 4-2. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
Any professional painter will tell you that if you want results like these, you gotta know the tricks of the trade. You gotta ask Sherwin-Williams. Now, these are guys you can trust. They've got good paint, good price, good advice. Guaranteed. Want to know something? I didn't paint this house. The guy that lives there did. Hey, fella, nice job. This guy knows what the pros know. Ask Sherwin-Williams.
Atlanta leading Fort Wayne by the score of 4-2. We're in the second period of play, and Purvis carries in, shoots, good save up high, the rebound, puck wide of the near post. Now the puck played behind the net. Sharon pushed it back to the boards, comes here to the near side, and it's swatted all the way out of there by LaRouche. Now the Knights and Lusick for Fort Wayne, trying to clear the zone, knocked back in for Drewley. Nice flip pass for LaRouche, ruled onside. The fans didn't like that, but the other way, 3-on-2 Fort Wayne. Siplikov to the far side, Purvis back to Siplikov, broken up, but Siplikov finally gets it to Purvis, a shot on goal! And the Komets once again break down the Knights' defense and move close. It's 4-3, and Purvis once again right in the middle of everything.
The big guy really makes things happen out there for the Komets. As you see the rush to center. Little give and go. Siplikov, backhand pass to Purvis. And no one picks up Purvis cutting into the net. And you cannot leave him alone with his size and ability to shoot the puck. His 29th of the season.
Purvis, opportunistic indeed. And it's now 4-3, and the Komets will not be denied in this one. They keep charging back. Siplikov gets an assist. And now the Knights. And Jason Rupp lost it behind the net. Medill couldn't make a play. Rupp has it in the corner to the near point, and Boston fires. Knocked down by Gauthier, and he covers up. No whistle. Good heavens, how long do you have to lose sight of the puck? Boston, good job, pinching in. Now played by Wickenheiser across the line to Messier. Messier in the near circle. Spins from a check, taken down, no call. Bergeron dangerously out of the net. Now Messier in the near corner to Wickenheiser. He couldn't catch up with the puck, and it's played to the point and then cleared out of there by the Knights. No change on the play as Tredowitz carries to the red line. Pushes it into the zone. Behind the net, played now by Corey Cross. To center ice, pinching in, McKee keeps it alive for the Komets. They feel a little momentum swing, and they're forechecking heavily. Here's Chin, now to McKee, a quick shot, deflected wide by Bergeron, with Purvis, who else going to the net? Purvis in the far circle for Chin, in front, a shot stick save Bergeron, with Fletcher wreaking havoc in front. Big bump in the corner as the puck is cleared by the Knights. Now Dupuis with Tardif on him, beats Purvis, who's being double shifted now by their coach Bruce Boudreau. He knows who's got the hot hand, and he wants him on the ice. Plus, this is just their second game after a 5-day layoff. They ought to be ready to go. Whereas the Knights are dragging their 5th game in 6. Dave Smith intercepts, flips it here to Darren Smith. His centering pass off the side of the cage. Back behind the net, Arapara to save the rebound. Slotted out of there, and a penalty coming up on the Komets. We'll pause. We'll have more hockey as cooler heads prevail in front. Back in 30 seconds. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
Here, deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains, is a place that's surprisingly easy to get to, and yet, ironically, very difficult to leave. Asheville, North Carolina. The sky's the limit.
Mark Miller and Ken Double back in Fort Wayne. And we have 2 penalties called. Sean Rivers for the Atlanta Knights sits 2 minutes, elbowing the call. And it's Darren Smith for the Komets. 2 minutes for a hook. And so the coincidental minors coming at 5:14 into the second period leave us at 4-on-4 in front of the netminders. A lot of room on the rink, and the Knights leading 4-3. But Fort Wayne keeps coming back. This has been a dandy hockey game, although too high scoring to suit both coaches, I'll guarantee you that.
Sure, Gino Briacco wants the Knights to play a little bit tighter defensively, especially getting that 3-goal lead and then right back into a tight hockey game.
Now Sharon across the line. Lets McKee have the puck, and he sets up shop behind his own net. Ryan McKee played at Peoria last year. Beats it ahead to Kelly Hurd. Now it's played by Dave Smith. His shot deflects to the far circle, and it's played by Sharon. Flips it behind LaRouche. It's loose at center ice for McKee. His pass ahead, past everybody into the Atlanta zone. Bergeron steers it ahead to Trulia behind the net for Dubois. 1:20 left on the coincidental minors as LaRouche flies to the blue line, pushes it to the far board. What a bump along the boards there. Up to the far corner. Played now by Melican to Guy Dupuis. Number 2 Dupuis to the red line, flips it in. Bergeron lost it. It comes here to the near side, up the near boards. Battle for the puck. The Knights play it. Here's a potential 2-on-1. Tanguay across the line. Medill cutting to the net. Tanguay waits, shoots wide. Big collision in front. Medill's in the cage, and Fort Wayne headed the other way. Now Messier across the line. Cutting into the near circle. Steps in front, shoots just through the goal mouth. Centers for Malik, and it got caught in his skates, or there'd have been another opportunity. Now Cross carries the puck just out of the zone, trying to break Medill. And on that interception, the Komets might have had another brilliant scoring chance. Now Davidson flips it in. 20 seconds left on the coincidental minors. 13 plus left here in the second period. 4-3 Atlanta. Here's Medill. He's got one. A power play goal just minutes ago. Wheeling at center ice. Less than 10 seconds left on the minor penalties as the Knights dump it back into their own zone and reload the gun. Now Sharon takes a big bump from Purvis. Fort Wayne has it. Tredowitz behind the net, feeds Purvis, who fan on a bouncing puck. Now the Knights carry it to Rivers. Rivers across the line for Gretzky. Leaves it for Miller in the far corner. Miller centers, taken away by Purvis. He is omnipresent. Purvis ahead to Siplikov across the line. Gets around a check, shoots. Big save there by Bergeron, and the Knights better start taking some bodies. Here comes Rivers up the near side with Gretzky. Rivers to the deep slot. Rivers shoots, save, the rebound. Held on. Gauthier never gave it up. We'll be back in 30 seconds. 4-3 Atlanta. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
Out of the literally millions and millions of numbers out there, 46 of them are headed this way. So if you want to play Lotto Georgia from the Georgia Lottery, pick 6 out of the blue. Then every Saturday night around 11, watch to see if your numbers come in.
Journalistic integrity demands that we report the Knights need Norman Rochefort. The defense is definitely struggling without the 14-year NHL veteran Rock of Gibraltar on the ice. And it's got to be very frustrating for Gene Ubriaco to see the team have a lead, and yet opportunity after opportunity because of mistakes become apparent for the Komets. Good shot by Miller, good save by Gauthier. And here comes Fort Wayne. Dupuis carries ahead. Across the line on a 3-man rush to Smith. Knocked off his stick, played by Hurd on the follow-up. He sends it behind the net here to the near side, and Darren Smith sends it in front. Shot, save, rebound, save. The rebound and a goal! Once again, the defense spinning in circles, and the Komets have tied up the hockey game at 4.
I'll tell you what, though, Kenny, it's not all the defense's fault. The forwards are not picking up their men coming down the rink.
I mean, defense in general.
They're letting the odd man rushes of Fort Wayne really take advantage. There you see the goal by Smith. A delayed call was coming up. Corey Krause goes behind the net there as Boston had a Fort Wayne Komet tied up in the corner. That left no defenseman in front of the net, but the wingers have to start picking up the Fort Wayne Komet forwards as they're breaking out of their zone.
4-4, we're tied in an unbelievable hockey game in Fort Wayne. A sellout crowd being entertained by this one. Now the puck played by the Knights into the Fort Wayne zone. Lucic tracks it down. By the way, there was a penalty going to be called on the Knights on that play, but with the puck going in the net, no penalty. Now the Knights can't control at center. Flying into the zone, Messier, and I'll guarantee you the Komets have the Jets on the skates now. They smell the huge come-from-behind victory, and they will be gambling and taking chances to get the lead now. We're nearing the halfway point of the hockey game, and Jason Rupp feeds it ahead. Gretzky can't, or check that, Tanguay can't control, and now it's played by Wickenheiser. Bumped off the play, but here comes Malikin. Played behind the net by Sharon. Intercepted by Hurd, and he lost it in the circle. Now the Komets sent it in front, knocked down, played to Wickenheiser. His shot smothered. It comes here to the near circle, and Medill just sends it all the way into the bench. And we'll pause. Back with more hockey in 30 seconds. We're tied at 4. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
This is Pioneer Home Theater. With Laserdisc images 60% sharper than most VCRs, the world's leading AV receivers, speakers customized for home theater, and a big screen picture that's real as life. From the leaders in audio and video, home theater so advanced, you don't just watch it.
Right off the draw, Smith steps in, Dave Smith, and fired it wide. Now the puck played behind the Atlanta net down to our left. Far corner, a 4-player pile up and the puck loose. No, it's off the side of the cage as Campbell couldn't play it right through the goal mouth, and it trickles to Drulia. His pass ahead. Played now by LaRouche. Run off the play. The puck into the zone. Drulia hooked down from behind. No call from Hicks. Tough break, and now a penalty coming up. The puck played by the Knights, and the Knights are going short-handed. A cross-check called when Drulia was clearly hooked at the blue line. No call. Tough break for Atlanta. Back in 30 seconds once again. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
There is one gentle antibacterial soap doctors recommend more than any other. Aren't you glad you used Dial? There is one gentle antibacterial soap doctors recommend more than any other. Aren't you glad you used Dial?
Watch 2 Fort Wayne penalties go unnoticed, and then LaRouche on the retaliation gets called. LaRouche here along the boards. Watch the punch from Lambert.
There you see the tail end of the hook. There's the punch. And there's the cross check. You cannot retaliate. However upset you may be over getting punched in the face, if they don't call it, when you go and retaliate, the referee will blow that call every single time.
Well, the call that he blew were the 2 in front, not only the punch, but then Drulia clearly hooked at the blue line. Off the puck, could have been hooking or interference. Instead, Fort Wayne on a power play, threatening to take the lead. Here's Davidson. Far circle in front, a shot knocked down in front and cleared by the Knights.
Good job by Gretzky getting down into the slot to clear the puck there.
Now Purvis lost it. Ooh, Gretzky might have had an opportunity to break in. Now Davidson tied up in the corner. Gretzky intercepts for Miller in front. Couldn't track it down, and it's played by Davidson. And look how much more effective the Knights penalty killing unit is when these two guys are together. Did we miss Gretzky with that hamstring strain? Now here comes McKee. Across the line with Purvis. He has been trouble 2 nights in a row. Here's Davidson. Near circle. Centers had hit Buchanan behind the net. Darren Smith bumped off the play by Dubois. Up the far side, and Miller trying to clear the zone, couldn't. Purvis banged off the play by Buchanan, and the puck bottled up along the far side, played by the Komets. Here's Davidson, a slap shot. No, faked it in front, and Smith steered it wide. Colin Chin with 54 seconds left on the penalty. Plays it along the far board. And a penalty coming up on Dubois. McKee shoots wide, played in the corner, and it'll be a tripping call. The Knights will be down 2 men for 42 seconds. Dubois right in front, got the stick underneath the Fort Wayne Komet. And now it'll be a 5-on-3 manpower advantage for the Komets. They've got a brilliant opportunity to not only take the lead, but maybe take the lead by 2 if they can score quickly here.
And what Dubois does here, if we take a look at it, it's a common tactic to poke the skate out. Watch the stick right there. He gets 4 minutes.
Oh, they call a 4-minute penalty.
Oh, boy.
Well, this will make for an interesting third period.
2 for a trip and 2 for unsportsmanlike conduct. So the words that he said to Hicks going into the penalty box earned Dubois an extra 2.
Obviously, Mark Hicks, fluent in French. So there you see Eric Dubois in the box. And Mark Hicks putting the Knights in a real tough situation here. The penalty killers definitely. And look at Smith grabbing at the stick of Sharon.
He should send them both right there.
Dave Smith kept hooking Sharon's stick. And Sharon finally kind of let him have it. Now off the draw, loose in the slot. Kelly Hurt shoots, good save. The rebound steered to the far point, a bouncing puck, swatted out of there on a big play by Sean Rivers. What a hockey game we've got here. I'll guarantee you David Berkman and Richard Handler are probably not enjoying this one an awful lot, but it's a fan's delight and a coach's nightmare. Now Fort Wayne with that 2-man advantage, playing the puck behind the net. Now to the deep slot, and Lambert He fakes the shot to the far circle. Back to Lambert. Shoots. Deflected. Loose in front. Still loose on a scramble. No, he's going to count the goal. Bergeron could not get a handle on it and count the goal.
There was 3 Fort Wayne Komets in the blue area that's called the crease. You're not supposed to be in there when the goal is in. Boy, tough break for Atlanta with just 5 seconds left on the LaRouche penalty. That means that there's still 3:23 left on the Eric Dubois 4-minute minor.
And Gino Briacco, quite frankly, has to feel he's getting robbed. Another look. Great save, Bergeron. He's trying to find it. That player was pushed into the crease.
Messier was in the crease, and no one pushed him into it. He had gotten out after it was in the net. But Gino Briacco is just livid over that goal counting.
Now, is LaRouche going back to the box? What is this all about?
Number 10, Steve LaRouche, has been assessed a 10-minute misconduct.
LaRouche, on his way out of the box, was talking to Hicks about why that goal should count, and Hicks has given LaRouche a 10-minute misconduct. This is unbelievable. An amazing turn of events here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Finds the Komets leading with a 2-man advantage power play goal. And now they've got 3:23 left on another power play. And I'll tell you what, strange things happen in Fort Wayne. And now LaRouche is being escorted to the locker room with 8:15 left in this one. He'll not see action now until the 3rd period. Now the Knights penalty killers have a major task ahead of them. As off the draw, Buchanan just fires it down. Well, I'll say this. Give the Fort Wayne Komets a lot of credit. They have staged a great comeback, and Hurd flies into the zone. Behind the net. Hurd in the near circle. Centers, far circle. Purvis, a big save by Bergeron, and the Knights cleared. Komets 2 for 3 on the power play as they feed it in. Cross there first, lined up by Siplikov on a big hit. Now the puck in the corner to Purvis, and the Knights need to be careful not to run around here. Get down 2 goals. Lambert at the near point. Along the near boards, Colin Chin. Takes a big bump from Buchanan. Now the puck off the side of the cage, intercepted, and Tanguay clears the zone. Good job by the penalty killers of Atlanta. Now we're down to 2:10 left on that penalty, that 4-minute penalty to Dubois. Now McKee. Up the far side to Lee Davidson. Intercepted by the Knights, and Gretzky pushes it ahead. The Knights try to swat it back, but McKee plays across the line. Dave Smith. He's had a couple of near misses on goals tonight. Big bump by Sharon in the corner. Another crash behind the net as Boston took a pop at Smith. Better be careful. He's got both hands on the stick. Now the puck played by the Komets behind the net, trying to find Davidson. Here to the near side of the goal! And Sharon is all over referee Mark Hicks, whose arm went up again to call another penalty on Atlanta.
So even after this goal, the Knights are still going to be shorthanded.
It's 6-4 Komets. Dubois comes out of the box, but an Atlanta Knight, I think, is headed back in. If you believe in the theory that these things even out, as Gino Briacco is beside himself on the bench, it could be an interesting 3rd period for the Atlanta Knights. And Ubi just cannot believe what's happened to his hockey team, and now one of the linesmen comes over. I believe Sharon has been perhaps thrown out of the game. Garoppolo is talking with him.
Right here, if we take a look at it, Boston was over in the corner. Sharon left his position from in front of the net. That left no one out in front of the net. An easy goal for Fort Wayne.
Where was the penalty that was being called? As Sharon now goes to the box. The Knights are going to be shorthanded some more. Unless it is strictly a 10-minute misconduct penalty.
It can't be. The arm was up. There was a delay penalty coming.
We'll have a look at some more tape as you see Buchanan talking to Hicks, the referee. He's also talking to Chin. Here's the play in the corner. There's the arm up, and I'm not sure. That was just a good hit by Sharon. Is he going to call him for boarding or charging? And then you could see Sharon go right over to the referee. So there's the referee, Hicks. And Gene Ubriaco would be delighted to have a chat with him for a moment or two. Messier now talking to the captain, Stan Drulia. Or check that, Hicks, I'm sorry, talking to the captain, Stan Drulia.
Dave Smith, his second goal in a row. Messier and Wickenheiser.
They've called Sharon 2 minutes for holding the stick. 2 minutes for holding the stick. And what appeared to be such a brilliant night for the Knights, scoring the first 3 goals. That's Boston pushing and shoving.
Now here's Sharon
comes into the play.
He was in front of the net alone before then, so I have no idea when he was holding the stick.
Now, prior to that, let's give credit on a brilliant assist behind the net on that goal, because it appeared that Wickenheiser would come out to the near side, to the other side, and then he slipped it to Smith with Bergeron going basically to the wrong post. A brilliant assist and a great goal on the power play for the Komets. But now the power play continues for another minute and 50. Basically, for the Atlanta Knights, the last 6 minutes of this hockey game have been shorthanded, some of it 5-on-3. And it's a 2-goal Komets lead. Well, they came back from a 3-goal deficit. Maybe there's some of this for the Knights as they feed it to Gretzky onside. Colin Miller cutting to the net. The feed, the shot, save the rebound, loose and cleared out of there. A near shorthanded goal. Now Mitch Messier the other way. Centers, disrupted by the Knights, and Colin Miller feeds it to Gretzky. Hit him in the skate. Big bump at center, the puck to Gretzky. Across the line, Buchanan the trailer. Gretzky around to check, a backhand shot, deflects into the crowd. 5:30 left, we'll pause. More hockey after this. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
TBS presents The Great Westerns, a week of classic movies from the world's greatest movie library. The Great Westerns, beginning Monday, only on TBS.
Sports South's got a whole lot of college hoop.
Mark Miller and Ken Double back in Fort Wayne, and it has been a wild evening here and a lot more hockey to go. 5.5 minutes left in what has been a disastrous second period for the Knights. A boatload of penalties called by referee Mark Hicks. A boatload of goals for the Fort Wayne Komets. They trailed once 3-0, 4-2, and have scored 4 unanswered goals. The Knights intercept on the attack, short-handed. Now Medill behind the net trying to make a play. It comes here to the near side, played by Lambert. Now he skates out of there with it. Takes another bump from Medill, and now here comes the ever dangerous John Purvis, 44. Centers here to the near side, and Darren Smith behind the net. Kelly Hurd fired it wide and carried out of there in a chase for the puck. Lambert and Medill. Oh, they're going to call Medill for a penalty here. He barely touched him, and they're going to call a penalty, and now a scramble behind the net. Here we go. It's probably going to get crazy in Fort Wayne now. Medill hardly touched Lambert, who took a dive. If they call the dive, I'll dive.
No way.
Because that now, as of last year, is a penalty when you purposely take a dive trying to get a call. But now I'll bet they're going to call Medill for this one, and he hardly touched him. And Lambert and Medill jawing at each other. And Medill goes to the box, and that's an unbelievable penalty.
If they do not throw Fort Wayne Komet in for Medill being jumped by 2 players, this is going to be tough to take.
Here's the play. Medill barely touches Lambert, who goes down, but immediately pops back up. He's not hurt. That's a dive.
And now watch Medill going behind the goaltender, takes the goaltender down, and Lambert just dives on him, along with Darren Smith.
So indeed, Lambert goes in to the penalty box. So there you see Lambert in there. And what's, again, to a certain degree, tough to take, is that Medill shouldn't be in the box at all. But he's there, and will now let you know, fans, that it's time for the Johnny Rockets coupon. 4:42 of the second period. The Sunday game in Fort Wayne. Remember, that's the time you saw the Johnny Rockets coupon, and head to your favorite location for the 2-for-1 on those world-famous chili fries. Well, after all that mess, the Fort Wayne Komets have 20 seconds left on a power play on the Sharon penalty, and then we'll skate 4-on-4 in front of the netminders for a while. Here is Malikin for Fort Wayne. Now, Siplikov leaves it for Chin near circle. Chin looking for the play, centers. Oh, and it right through the stick of Purvis. And it's played now by Malikin. Bothered by Trulia. It's into the corner for Chin. Now Sharon out of the box, right in front. Shot, save, the rebound, steer to the far boards. Now Purvis, as we're 5-on-5 in front of the netminders. The whistle blows and we'll pause. 4:09 left in the second. 6-4 Komets, back in 30 seconds. This is Atlanta Knights hockey.
Drivers don't always see children in time to stop. So if you have a child, teach him to stop. Look left, right, and left again. See? A message from Eggleston, the Children's Hospital at Emory University.
If you have a child, get him a helmet, so even if he hits the ground, his head won't.
A message from Eggleston, the Children's Hospital at Emory University.
Off the draw, Eric Dubois ridden into the boards, and Fort Wayne forechecking, leading by the count of 6-4. Exactly 4 minutes left in the second period. Now the puck played up the near side for Drewley. Intercepted by McKee, knocked down by Corey Cross. Now a bouncing puck, tracked down by McKee and played into the Atlanta zone, and Dubois. He and Fletcher collide. McKee fires it back in, as the Komets again doing a good job keeping the Knights bottled up. They play this game very well. Chippy, chippy, chippy. Take advantage of the opportunities. Now Ruff, bothered by Dupuis. Ruff taken down by Dupuis. The puck along the near boards and swatted out of there. And I'll guarantee you, now a penalty coming up on Fort Wayne.
Oh, no.
No. The Knights are playing the puck.
It's on Fletcher.
Now across the line, a drop pass for Edgerton in front. Ruff leaves it there, right through the goal mouth. The shot, a save, it's still loose, and they smother it. No score for the Knights, but a power play coming up. And we had to certainly wait for the Knights to touch the puck to make sure who the power play would be going to. And there you see Big Steve Fletcher.
I had initially thought they called the penalty on Drewley, and he gave Fletcher a bit of a bump, and then Fletcher retaliated.
Although for Atlanta Knights fans, there are those who would think the guy in the stripes ought to be also wearing a mask. Now watch the play continue.
There's the bump by Drewley. And that's the penalty that he's calling. 2 minutes for slashing.
Boy, you hardly hit him. You hardly touched him. That's amazing. The Knights will certainly take the break at this point in time. But this is a situation where Hicks appears to be inventing things out there. Now the puck played by the Knights. Sean Rivers feeds Buchanan. He fires one. Gretzky missed it. Got it again. Shot deflected wide. Now Played in the corner. Drulia. Oh, down in front. Brent Gretzky just got back, and now he's down in front, and he's definitely in pain. The whistle blows. Gary Hall out onto the rink. A concerned Gene Ubriaco watches as off that scramble in front, Gretzky almost got one tip-in and then had another shot at it. And as he fired, he'll get bumped. Watch this right in the middle of the screen on the replay.
There it is. It's a high stick right in the face, and the linesman is calling a penalty on Fort Wayne.
Take a look from the reverse side. You'll get a clearer look at it.
Watch Gretzky fire the rebound, and watch the stick. Right there in the face.
And again, Hicks didn't see it. And the puck played right there, and he didn't see it. The linesman stepping in to call the play as Gretzky heads to the bench. And a 4-minute penalty called on Lee Davidson. And is he upset?
He wasn't the one that did it. It was Malikin that hit him. Malikin was the player number 10. Well, now the Knights have a great opportunity to get back in the hockey game.
A minute 49 of two-man advantage. And then this long penalty to Davidson, although he wasn't the guilty party. The long penalty will carry in potentially to the second period, depending on whether or not the Knights can tie up this hockey game. What a night. It's been wild indeed at Fort Wayne. And quite frankly, this more often than not is how it happens in this building. It just seems to get crazy. The Komets very effectively play that chippy style. They draw a lot of penalties. Because the teams coming in with this wild, fiery crowd get all upset and retaliate. The penalties get called, and now it's 5-on-3 for the Knights. The face-off in the neutral zone. Chin to take the draw with Edgerton. And the Knights win the draw, and now Buchanan across the line. Takes a hack from Malikin, who's obviously talented with the stick. And now Edgerton. Across the line with 2.5 minutes left. The puck played by Ruff behind the net. Swatted at by Lucic. And Drulia has it along the far board. Gets away from Chin and moves in. Waits, shoots off the goal post. It caromed here to the near side. Deep slot. Buchanan didn't get all of it. And it's cleared. Now Rivers quickly up the rink. Stops at the near point. Far side in the corner, and Drulia back to Dubois. Back to Drulia, side of the cage. Back to Dubois, deep slot, slap shot, glove save, Gauthier! That shot needs to be down on the rink. Good job by Fort Wayne to clear the front.
Here's the shot by Dubois. Watch Fort Wayne. Great job of moving to Atlanta Knights. You see on the right side of your screen, out of the picture. Gauthier sees the puck the whole way and hangs on. You have to get the low shot here, and as this shot gets about 2 feet in the air, 2.5 feet in the air, an easy glove save for Gauthier.
The 5-on-3 continues for 57 seconds. We have 1:57 left in the second period. 3:09 left on that second penalty to Fort Wayne's Lee Davidson. Oh, the Komets win the draw and clear the zone.
Look at the penalty minutes in the hockey game. 26 minutes for the Atlanta Knights. Just 14 for Fort Wayne.
Now Eric Charon. Number 3 to the red line. Moving to the right across the line for Ruff. Too far, played by Fredowitz. He and Ruff collide. And Ruff feeds the puck to Medill. Now the Mad Dog, who has a power play goal in the hockey game at the top of the far circle. Near side, Charon. Near circle, and Dubois to Charon to Medill. Medill beats Charon, a one-timer save. The rebound, Dubois, backhander, another save. And Trudowitz can't get it past Ruff. Behind the net, Tanguay pushing for the puck that's cleared by the Komets. 10 seconds left on the 5-on-3. And it'll be rule played by a high stick in the faceoff deep in the Atlanta zone. Oh, a minute 5 left in the second period. 5 seconds left on the two-man advantage, but the Knights will continue on a power play through the rest of the period unless they score. Trailing 6-4, looking for one to spark a little momentum because it's all been Fort Wayne in this second period.
4 unanswered goals by the Komets. Purvis, Darren Smith, and then a pair of goals from Dave Smith to put them up 5 and 6-4.
Now the puck played by Atlanta off the draw. And here comes Rivers with 1 minute to play in the period. And a battle for the puck in the corner. Centered and cleared out of there by the Komets to Purvis, and here he comes with Colin Chin. Purvis across the line, blasts a shot, Bergeron a save, and he has to smother the puck. We'll have another face-off coming up. And the Knights with 42 seconds left in this period. Should they not score, they will still have a minute 12 of a power play heading into the third period. Should they score, the penalty box will be empty, except for the fact that Steve LaRouche still has to complete his misconduct penalty for about a minute and a half into the third period. But right now, he's not in the box, he's in the locker room. A busy night for referee Mark Hicks. The penalty box for the Knights empty right now. Now the puck played by Drulia off the draw. Behind the net, Rivers, and he'll leave it for Devin Edgerton, who starts the play. The Knights, for our radio audience, moving offensively to the right. It hit Tardif in the back, and now Chin has it with Purvis across the line. Purvis with Rivers. Purvis feeds it to Chin, bothered by Buchanan. They collide, and the Knights steer it up the far side. And Rivers with Chin leaves the puck there, and now it's played by Drulia, chased by Purvis. With 14 seconds left in the period. And the puck to Drulia. Up the near side for Edgerton. He rolls it on net, cleared by the goaltender with 6 seconds left, and that'll do it. The second period is over, and what a period for the Fort Wayne Komets. They lead it 6-4. Listen to the crowd. The music is taking care of business, and indeed the Komets did. We'll have Jeff Medill with us in just a moment. We'll take a look at the IHL standings, have highlight scores and more after this. This is Atlanta Knights Hockey.
Atlanta Knights Hockey is brought to you in part by Kimberly-Clark, makers of Huggies diapers, by Phillips Lighting, and by Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold Medicine.
Through all the years,
try and find a way to knock it back into gear. Gene Ubriaco looking for a jump start. Now the Knights have scored early in both the first and the second period. It'll be interesting to see now if they've got a goal on the stick early here with a power play for another minute in the opening moments of the third period, trailing 6-4. Now the Knights fire it in. Ruff has it, looking for a little play to the far side, and threw it right past Dubois, and it's played by Purvis. What does Purvis not do? He's on the power play. He's on the penalty kill. He's been double shifting on 2 different lines. If you were to get to the official sheet, you might find that Purvis is going to have about a 38 or 40-minute night here tonight against the Atlanta Knights. 30 seconds left on the power play as Edgerton, moving his team offensively to the left this third period, hits the red line and fires it in. Played up the far side by the Knights behind the net. Medill leaves it for Tanguay. Back to Medill, far circle. He fires, and it's loose off the side behind the net. Ruff, ridden out of there by Malikin. Now Tanguay. Couldn't play the puck, and it's clear. And I'm impressed by how they finished their checks when shorthanded in the corner. The penalty over. We're back to 5-on-5 in front of the netminders. Now Colin Miller feeds Gretzky. Good to see him out there all right. Puck taken away. Messier feeds it here to the near side. Knocked down by Davidson. Into the zone, he fires it wide, played by Sean Rivers. Gretzky tips it ahead, rather Colin Miller tips it ahead, back on his stick. Oh, Tardif trying to punch it to Gretzky. That might have been a breakaway. The one thing these Komets do, you don't see them go into a shell much. They continue to play very aggressive hockey. Now the puck played by Fort Wayne, intercepted by Buchanan, who dumps it back in for Atlanta. We're 2 minutes into the third period. 6-4 Komets. Next goal is huge. Now the puck loose at center, played by Dave Smith. Across the line with Darren Smith. Popped off his stick on a good play by Gretzky, who steers it to Tardif. Off his skate, played by Kelly Hurd across the line. Hurd shoots from a bad angle. The shot saved. The rebound steered by the Knights, and Tardif to center ice to the blue line. Dumps it in, and the Knights begin a change. The puck now played by Danny Lambert. Dumped in by Fort Wayne to Drulia. Bumped by Hurd up the near side. Here comes Edgy, 3-on-3. Edgerton across the blue line, near wing board. Leaves it for Buchanan. Off his stick, loose at center, played by Corey Cross back into the zone. The Knights clear to get onside. Gauthier leaves it for Dave Tredowitz, and Gauthier has done well after 4 goals were scored by the Knights. He's given up just 1 of them. Edgerton shoots, stick save Gauthier. Edgy has it back in the corner. For Drulia behind the net, taken away by Lambert, and it's cleared by the Komets. 16:50 to go in the hockey game. 6-4 Fort Wayne. The puck played to Edgerton. Cross ice for Drulia, too far. And if you're wondering where's LaRouche on this line, he still has a little time left on his 10-minute misconduct penalty. Here's Campo with Edgerton, 2-on-1. Campo tried to get it back to Edgy, swept wide on a good play. And now injured behind the net. A Fort Wayne Komet will check this out and have more after we pause for this message. Back in 30 seconds, this is Atlanta Knights hockey.
Out of the literally millions and millions of numbers out there, 46.
Kerry Lusick, the injured Fort Wayne Komet, heads back to the bench. Appears to be all right. He got banged behind the net, and I don't know if it was a puck or if maybe a little bit of a collision with Campo. Not sure, but he's back on the Komets bench. The penalty to LaRouche is over. So everybody back at full strength. 3.5 minutes into the third period. 6-4 Fort Wayne. Face-off in the Atlanta attack zone. Far side, pushed by Tanguay to the corner. Played by Guy Dupuis behind the net. Up the far boards for Vladimir Siplikov, 29. Siplikov lost it at the red line, played by the Knights. And here's Jeff Medill, our second intermission guest and a goal scorer tonight. Pushes it in and follows the play. Tied up with McKee. Sharon pinching. Couldn't get it back to Medill. Intercepted by the Knights, but taken back by the omnipresent John Purvis. Talk about an all-star game tonight. And he whistles a shot over the crossbar. Hacked by the Knights to the point. And Dupuis almost had it stolen. Swept out of there by the Knights. Hand pass is legal in the defensive zone. Fans always complain about that, but that's a legal play. And now here's Medill. Across the line, Medill sends it here to the near side. Nobody home for the Knights. Colin Chin clears the zone. No, he didn't. Medill able to keep it in, but then deflected out of there by Hurd to Siplikov. He rolls it in. The Komets will for a hold, and here's the call right here.
There you see Millsy, top of the screen. Little hold there on Smith, and he brings him to the ice, and that's when the arm of Hicks goes up and calls the penalty.
So the Komets are back on the power play. This is their 7th power play opportunity of the hockey game, although it seems as if they spent the entire last half of the second period on the man-power advantage. Now played in the corner by Messier. Messier with Buchanan. Bothering him, Messier now sends it up to the far point. Messier, deep slot Hurd, near circle Lambert. Lambert steps around Gretzky and then lost the puck. So Hurd retreats to his own zone and starts the rush with 1:15 left on the penalty. Loose at center, played now by Messier. Mitch Messier. Up the far side and knocked off his stick by Buchanan. The Puck played now by Kelly Hurd. LaRouche off the bench, swept it off his stick, but across the line, Messier. His centering pass interrupted by Buchanan, bangs it off the boards, but Messier has it far circle. Torrey Cross pushing it. Smith had him right into the net. Now Lambert up the far side for Doug Wickenheiser. Back to Danny Lambert. Collision behind the play as Wickenheiser dumped Medill, and now Purvis cross ice to Lambert, cranks it up, and a save by Bergeron. 13:44 to go in the hockey game. 6-4 Komets. They have 29 seconds left on their power play, and they've scored 3 power play goals here in the hockey game. Another look at the play here as Medill was down behind the play, which in effect gave them a 5-on-3.
Big shot there. No rebound, though. Bergeron again, starting off the third period, playing solid as he did last night.
And now the offense has to find a couple of goals for Gene Ubriaco and the Knights, with Colin Miller antsy to get out of the penalty box. There's John Purvis, who has been a thorn in the side of the Knights all night long, and all weekend he was tough with 2 goals on Friday. Face-off in the Atlanta zone, down to our right, far circle, won by the Komets to Davidson at the point. Slap shot deflected and then cleared into the zone, or into the crowd rather, with Darren Smith out front. The puck got to Bergeron's stick and ended up in the crowd. Well, that was a pretty quick deflection. Nonetheless, never take your eye off the puck. At the same time, I don't think she got any help from the guy to the left. Not much of a hero there. And look at them all laughing at her expense. If he brought her to the hockey game, she ought to at least make him buy dinner after that one. Now, John Purvis sends it back out to the far point. Near side, McKee, slap shot deflected straight up behind the net. Purvis tried to center, bothered by Sharon. Now Purvis bothered now by Boston. Purvis hit Drulia with it, and the Knights have a little opportunity to kill the rest of the penalty. Indeed, it's over. Colin Miller out of the box with a puck. The Knights in a 3-on-3. Right in front, LaRouche, a shot saved, the rebound behind the net. Up the far side, played by Darren Smith. He didn't, just barely did get it out of the zone. Miller leaves it for Bucky Buchanan, played by Drulia. Now LaRouche to Drulia, tied up by Fletcher, back to Colin Miller. One man back, Lambert. Miller spins from the check, rolls it here to the corner, and Rivers has to retreat. The Knights now wanted to complete a line change, and Purvis leaves it for Lambert. Now the Knights will try and do a little forechecking. Lost it in the neutral zone. Good recovery by Buchanan to keep Fort Wayne from charging into the zone on a rush. Now Sean Rivers with 12.5 minutes to go in the hockey game. The Knights trailing by the count of 6-4. Feeds Tanguay, who lost it at center ice. It's played now by Siplikov. Bothered by Medill. Up the far side, Fletcher tips it ahead. Knocked back in by the Knights. Medill plays it, that's offside. With 12:15 to go, we'll pause. 6-4 Komets over the Knights. Back in 30 seconds, this is Atlanta Knights hockey. Fired up here for this contest. Their Komets have come from behind and lead by 2. Now the puck to Tanguay, turns, shoots. He missed the near post. Now Rivers trying to keep it alive. It's cleared all the way down by the Komets. And Medill retreats and plays the puck to the far side, and Jeff Buchanan. He hits the red line, dumps it in. Gauthier then decides to cover up with Jason Ruff moving toward the net. 11:53 remaining. 6-4, and the Knights looking to score here now quickly on Sean Gauthier, who's been strong in net since taking over 4 minutes into the game. Gilmore gave up 3 quick ones to the Atlanta Knights, but it's been mostly Komets since then. The Knights outscored 6-1 since leading 3-0. Now Gretzky wins the draw, but can't control the puck as Messier carries ahead. A penalty called on the Komets. A tripping call? No, they'll call it holding as Gretzky was dumped after the faceoff.
Big break for Atlanta here with just a little under 12 minutes left in the hockey game. Right off the face-off, I think this may be a holding the stick call. And it was Tardif that was dumped. And indeed it is Wickenheiser.
On the reverse angle.
Watch, he grabs the stick right there, and as Tardif tries to come back, he ends up on the ice.
And now the Knights complaining as you see Wickenheiser in the box. 2 minutes for holding the stick. Time of the penalty, 8-11. The Knights wanted the face-off in the attack zone, but Hicks rules face-off in the neutral zone, just outside the Fort Wayne blue line. The draw won by the Komets. Now Atlanta on the power play, 1 for 3. Now the puck dumped in by Fort Wayne, played by Edgerton to Drulia, drops it to Edgerton, and here he comes out of the zone, flying to the left. Edgy gains the red line, fires it in. Off the glass here to the near corner. Dubois pinching in, and the puck cleared by the Komets. Gretzky, fronted by Mitch Messier, leaves it for Drulia. Hit him in the skate with 90 seconds left on the power play. 11:15 left in the hockey game. If ever the Knights needed a power play goal, it's now. LaRouche bumped by Dupuis, and aggressive penalty killing by the Komets breaks up that attempt at a rush. Now again, here comes Edgerton. Try to feed it to the line, broken up by the Komets. Drulia gets it back, and it's swept out of there by Fort Wayne. Edgerton will start it up once more. Too far for Buchanan, and Lambert has a little room and clears it all the way down. It only takes but one with 51 seconds left on the rush. Edgerton starts it again. Gets it past Purvis, which is a major accomplishment in this hockey game, as Medill carries in deep with Ruff going to the net. The centering pass, Ruffles couldn't control it. Now it's there for Sharon, good play. Keeps it alive, but Lambert can't clear the zone. Medill with a little time, cranks it up, and Gauthier gets it in the midsection and hangs on. 28 seconds left on the power play. Good save by Gauthier on the slap shot by Medill.
Good job there by Medill as he was able to see Sharon go into the corner and follow the play to come over and take his position at the point to keep the puck in the zone. Here you see Sharon pinching in, and Medill very alert to reposition himself at the point and then fire the slap shot, but Gauthier once again hangs on without leaving any rebounds for the Knights.
Lambert wins the draw. Medill steps in. A shot saved by Gauthier, who held his ground on the post. Now Medill, with 20 seconds left on the power play, moves it in front. Bothered there. It's loose and cleared. Now Sharon carries back in for Ruff. Ruffles trying to push it into the corner, does for Medill. Back to the point, nobody home. Dave Smith intercepts, feeds it across the line to Kelly. Heard a slap shot wide. Karam's all the way around. The penalty over. We're back to 5-on-5, but Medill carries the rush for the Knights. Tanguay cutting to the net. Slap shot. Oh, and a glove save by Gauthier, and he hangs on. Jeff Medill let her fly, and Gauthier made a dandy save on this rip.
Boy, look at him get the glove up. But a sliding defenseman makes that save a lot easier for the goaltender. Dupuis drops down. The shot has to go high if it's going to get to Gauthier. That eliminates half the net.
Well, that's a great save. I mean, a great reaction. Indeed, a good play by the defenseman to force not only the high shot, but with the glove save, it eliminates the rebound opportunity. There you see the save numbers. And the puck won by the Komets and McKee behind his own net with 9.5 minutes left in the hockey game. 6-4 Komets. We're 5-on-5 in front of the netminders. Onside, Smith shoots, save, and Bergeron covers up and will pause. Back in 30 seconds. This is Atlanta Knights hockey. Seconds remain in the hockey game. The Fort Wayne Komets, with a brilliant come-from-behind effort, lead it 6-4. They have capitalized on their opportunities once again. And now it's played by Doug Wickenheiser. Behind the net to Mitch Messier. Centering pass deep into the slot, played by Wickenheiser to the point. Dupuis fakes the shot, sends it behind the net. Messier centers, nobody home but Colin Miller. A 3-on-2 rush up the rink. Wickenheiser trying to join the fray defensively. Miller feeds it here to Gretzky. On the reach in the corner, centers it back. Kept alive by Tardif, but he couldn't get a shot away. And here comes Brian McKee with Messier. And now Davidson across the line. Pass to the far boards. Hacked at by Colin Miller, and he plays it in the corner. Deflected in front, but Sean Rivers has a little room and clears the zone. Nearing the 8.5-minute mark left in the hockey game. Here comes Scotty Boston to Rivers. He gains the red line and fires it in. Now behind the net, played by Danny Lambert. Ooh, Drulia just missed the interception. Oh, and the fans upset. They think Drulia touched that puck. It'll be an icing call. And more hockey when we return. A face-off in Atlanta's attack zone in 30 seconds. This is Atlanta Knights hockey. 70s at the Allen County Memorial Coliseum. They're dancing in the aisles in Fort Wayne. Off the draw, slap shot fired wide by Dubois. Didn't get all of it. Played by Dave Tredowitz. Ahead to Colin Chin. He dumps it in, and the puck now played by Bergeron. Purvis knocks it down in the corner, takes a bump from LaRouche, who sat out a lot of the game on penalties. Purvis centers, knocked wide by the Knights. Played by Colin Chin. Behind the net for Purvis. Takes a bump from Sharon. The puck loose for Siplikov. Siplikov lost it, and Sharon steers it ahead. Edgerton trying to get it past Siplikov. He couldn't. The Komets step in. Chin shoots, scores! The Russian Siplikov certainly knows about capitalism, because he has helped Fort Wayne capitalize on every opportunity that Atlanta has given the Fort Wayne Komets. It's now 7-4 in favor of Fort Wayne. And Colin Chin, the beneficiary of the big play by Siplikov at the point. Here's Chin.
Siplikov manages to keep the puck in the zone, and Chin, deciding whether or not to pass, fires the shot and beats Bergeron.
Colin Chin, the 32-year-old native of Fort Wayne, played his entire career here in Fort Wayne. Had 30 goals in 69 games last year. Notches goal number 22 this year. Back down the other way. The whistle blows. We'll have a face-off coming up with 7:24 left. Atlanta now trailing 3, and Gauthier, to a certain degree, the man of the hour, because he has certainly come in allowing just 1 goal in 2 full periods plus. Kept his Komets in it and allowed them to jump in front. Now Big Fletcher dumps it in. Bergeron makes the save and covers up. Now we'll pause. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this. This is Atlanta Knights hockey. Right off the draw, a near miss on another one for the Komets. There's one opportunity they didn't capitalize on as the Knights fire it in. Trailing 7-4. Atlanta in scramble mode now, and a big hit in the corner. The puck sent all the way down. Cross bothering Fletcher as the puck is played by Bucky Buchanan. Bangs it off the boards. Gretzky at center. Try to feed it to Ruff. Now Medill steers it to Cross. Tips it ahead to Jason Ruff. Got it into the zone. Bumped on the play. And here come the Komets. Mitch Messier, number 18. Steps to the deep slot. Feeds it in front for Wickenheiser. Played now by Jeff Medill. 6:25 left to go in the hockey game as Medill from the red line fires it in. Gauthier sends it to the far side. His target got upended. Now Medill with Messier glaring at each other. The linesman got between them. And with 6:15 left, we'll have a couple of penalties coming up here.
Medill initially took a high stick there for Messier and took exception to that high stick, and that's how the little spat started.
And so a couple of penalties coming up here, much to the chagrin of Gene Ubriaco.
Here you see it from the reverse angle. After he dumps it in, Medill that is, takes the stick right there. And he turns around, gives Messier a bit of a shot. There you get a look at big Mitch Messier. Played last year in Milwaukee. He had 41 points in 62 games. A big fella, 6'2", 200 pounds.
He's no slouch, there's no question. As the Komets have certainly entertained a couple of full houses here in the 2 games with the Atlanta Knights. Atlanta won twice in Atlanta. Fort Wayne on the verge of answering that one, and also sending the Knights to 3 consecutive losses for just the 2nd time this year, the 2nd time in the team's history.
The last time the Knights lost 3 games in a row was right before they won 20 out of their next 30.
They went 23-7 after 3 straight losses back in November. You see the penalty minutes there as the puck now played by Atlanta. We're 4-on-4 in front of the netminders. Now Rivers being bothered by Darren Smith. Feeds Colin Miller behind the defense in Trudowitz. Miller steps in, dragged down, no call. The puck goes to the far side. Pops straight up into the air, into the over the glass into the crowd, and we'll pause. 5:42 left. Back in 30 seconds, this is Atlanta Knights hockey. It dumps it in for the Knights in a 4-on-4 situation, trailing 7-4. Now Davidson in the corner along the near boards. Dubois keeps it alive for LaRouche. Nice move. He shoots wide, gloved by the goaltender Gauthier. And here comes Lee Davidson with Hurd. Davidson steers it to the far corner where Sharon plays it. Up the far boards it goes. Played now in the deep slot. Davidson shoots. Good stick save by Bergeron, who came out to play the puck. Now Hurd, bothered by Sharon. Feeds it in front, but Trulia intercepts. Here's a 2-on-1, no, 2-on-2 brewing. Trulia across the line with LaRouche. Sidesteps a check. Lost the puck. Now Corey Cross has it in the neutral zone. 4:45 to go. Fed to Ruff. Right off the bench. Ruffles across the line. Ruff with Cross going to the net. The puck loose in front. Played now by Lambert. Up the far side, Danny Lambert, cross ice into the zone, played by Ruff. Now Cross to Tanguay. Bothered by McKee, and Cross gives it up to Buchanan. The 2 penalties about over as a shot fired just wide by Tanguay. Now Ruff takes a bump from Dupuis in the corner. Kicked here to the near side. Now behind the net, Tanguay back to Ruff. We're back to 5-on-5, and penalties coming up. At least on Fort Wayne, indeed on Fort Wayne, as the puck is played by Atlanta. Medill in the corner, wrapped up by McKee. Get the whistle, and the Atlanta Knights will have a power play as Medill got all tied up by McKee in front of the net. It'll be a slashing call on McKee as you see Hicks make the motion. And the Knights will go back on the power play, but with just 3:54 remaining and a 3-goal deficit, the Knights will have to score 3 at the end of the game as quickly as they scored 3 at the start of the game to force a shootout. The Knights led 3-0 before the 5-minute mark in the hockey game. So McKee sits. And we'll remind you at this point that Atlanta Knights hockey is brought to you in part by our friends at the Georgia Lottery. We hope that you're taking advantage of all the wonderful ways that you can have fun playing the Georgia Lottery. Now a power play for Atlanta. This is their 5th power play of the hockey game. They're 1 for 4. Looking for a quick one indeed. Gretzky wins the draw. Near side, Rivers moving in. Lets her go. It's wide. And Boston couldn't catch up with the puck. Good low shot by Rivers, just missed the far post. Now Sean brings it up the rink. 1:40 left on the power play, gains the red line and fires it in. Mark Tardif there first. Leaves it behind the net for Miller. Tied up, Gretzky gets it. Gretzky in the near circle down to our left. Rivers at the point. To Miller. Cross ice it goes, and the Knights in an Alphonson-Gaston act. Here, you take it, no, you take it. And Fort Wayne clears the zone. Deflected in by Tardif. Dupree there first with 1:12 left on the power play. Fort Wayne dumps it all the way down.
The Knights really have had trouble all night gaining the zone on the Komets win. They had the man advantage.
Jason Rupp at the red line, bumped off the puck. Boston following the play. Lost it at the point, and Messier clears the zone with 50 seconds left. And I'll tell you what, as outstanding as the Knights are, and they're an excellent hockey team, as proven by that 23-7 stretch over 30 games, it's tough to watch them in scramble mode like this when things aren't clicking, because the breakdowns become obvious, and the Komets have been outstanding in taking advantage of their opportunities. Now Jason Rupp with 20 seconds left. Carries to the line with Tanguay. Nice move. Rupp, oh, couldn't get the shot away. Now behind the net, Ruffles tied up by Lambert. What a move around the defense he made, and then couldn't, unfortunately, complete the play. Now the puck to Sharon at the near point. Far point, Dubois. Wrist shot went wide. Comes to the corner, and Dave Smith. Bothered by Medill with less than 2 minutes to go in the hockey game. Now Malikin sends it up, but not out. Good job by Dubois to keep it in. Now it's played by Malikin again. To the red line. Fletcher dumps it in. Played by Dubois for the Knights. Long cross-ice pass. Ruff gains the blue line. Stops, pushes it to Sharon with Tanguay in front. A quick shot save. The rebound steered by Hurd on a great back check by Kelly Hurd. Great play by the Knights. Big save by Gauthier, and Hurd right there to steer the rebound out of harm's way. Edgerton can't clear the zone. Hurd fans on his play, and Sharon hits the red line. And it's into the Fort Wayne zone, played by Dave Tredowitz, as we now have 1 minute to play. The Knights intercept, the shot, save, the rebound, and it's underneath the netminder, Sean Gauthier, who's been outstanding. The 22-year-old came in here with a 7-5-3 record. 18 games with Fort Wayne last year, or check that, in 91-92. Went 10-4-2 with a 3.62. He was 10-16-9 with Moncton in the American Hockey League. But with Kingston in the juniors, 1 year, he played in 59 games. Talk about a workhorse. This kid is used to a lot of work. Hasn't seen much here. One of 4 goaltenders to split duties pretty evenly for the Komets, but he's been outstanding tonight.
Really provided the club with the spark. When he came into the game, 3 goals down, and has only allowed 1 for the rest of the hockey game.
Now the puck played by the Komets, and as Purvis would have played it, it had been offside, so he lets it go for Corey Cross with 45 seconds left, and this game definitely decided. The shot deflected into the crowd. Seven to 4 the score, and once again give an awful lot of credit to Bruce Boudreau's Fort Wayne Komets. They've done what they had to do on home ice 2 consecutive nights. Whatever they did to regroup during that 5-day break has certainly proven to be the right thing. And now the Knights have to go back to Atlanta for a couple of days of practice and do a little regrouping of their own, with 7 big games on the road staring them in the face. Corey Cross for Atlanta. Centers, swept out of there by Chin. Now LaRouche centers, swept out of there by Lambert. And Drulia tracks it down on his own zone with now 20 seconds left in the hockey game. Cross fell down, plays it. And it's into the zone. Big collision behind the net. The puck loose for Colin Chin. With 10 seconds left in the hockey game, the Komets clear it ahead to Purvis. And they'll rule that a 2-line pass. So with 6 seconds remaining, we'll have 1 more face-off. And a reminder, fans, that the next game the Atlanta Knights play will be next Friday in Salt Lake City. And you'll have an opportunity to hear that one on our radio network. We'll also have it on a simulcast, as of the 7 games, 5 of them will be shown on television. Sports South, 9 o'clock Atlanta time. from Salt Lake City next Friday. Now LaRouche could not push it on net. And there's the horn. This hockey game is over, and the Komets make it a 3-game Indiana sweep. Fort Wayne won Friday. Indianapolis won Saturday. Fort Wayne wins Sunday, and Boudreau and the Komets leave Gene Ubriaco and the Knights, leaving the Hoosier State shaking their heads somewhat. The final score, 7-4, and we'll be back with more after this. This is Atlanta Knights Hockey.